Hey everybody, we are on supply and demand, and now we've got a problem in which two curves are shifting, okay? Not just the supply or just the demand, but both of them at the same time are shifting. We're used to getting a lot of problems where just supply shifts or demand shifts, but of course there are situations in which both supply and demand can shift at the same time. And there's a cautionary tale here. So we want you to pay attention on what's going to happen, okay? So I'm not even giving what this market might be. Who knows what it is, okay? I just want us to just focus on the concept of two curves shifting and what's going to happen. Let's say that on the supply side, production technology increases. It improves. There's an improvement in production technology. Hence, supply is going to shift right. We're going to get more quantity supplied at every price point. On the demand side, let's say it's a normal good and incomes go up. If incomes go up, demand's going to shift right, increase in quantity demanded, so that's an increase in demand, right? So both curves are shifting right. Here's what we often will do. We'll say, okay, supply is shifting. Oh, sorry, that's sub 1. Let me get my subs in here. Sub 0, sub 1. And demand is shifting. And we get this type of result, okay, where we went from this initial equilibrium, E sub 0, to this one, E sub 1. And so now we have to describe it. We usually get the curves right. The curves are pretty simple, okay? If the curve is shifting, say that curve is changing, okay? Supply, increase. Shift in supply, it increased. Hey, that's an increase in supply. Good, perfect. Demand, it also increased. So put increase in demand. We're not going to put QD or QS at all, okay? Because if the function is changing, we would want to say the function itself is changing. But here's where we get in trouble. When it comes to these variables, you see, we look at this graph and we say, oh, I got it. Price did not change and quantity equilibrium did change, okay? It was an increase in quantity equilibrium and we think we did it right. However, we didn't because we have no idea of the magnitude of these shifts, okay? We have production technology increasing and incomes increasing. There's no reason to think that these curves shifted by the same exact amount, okay? It could have been this, it could have been like this, okay? It could have been that supply shifted a lot, all right? And demand shifted a little bit. If that was the case, I'm doing this in red and black so we can see this easily. Initial equilibrium, new equilibrium. If that was the case, E sub 0 to E sub 1, well, we would say the price went down, quantity equilibrium increased, okay? Which is right. It's a right description for what happened there. But who is to say that supply shifted more than demand? Finally, of course, we could have had a situation perhaps demand shifted a lot and supply shifted just a little bit, okay? Well, once again, let's take a look at those equilibrium points. There's the original, there's the new one, pretty easy to find. In this case, price increased, quantity equilibrium also increased. So, we don't want to get caught in this trap. Let's erase what happened to price. I'm not going to erase what happened to quantity because notice, guys, quantity increased, quantity increased, quantity increased. So quantity absolutely increased. If both curves are shifting right, quantity equilibrium is definitely going to increase. They're both shifting right. Quantity equilibrium is going to increase. But when it comes to price, stayed the same, went down, went up. It's indeterminate. We don't know based on this qualitative information. We only know the curve shifted. We don't know how much. Nobody gave us data, actually quantitative data. From a qualitative standpoint, which so many problems do, they just give you qualitative information, just enough to know which way they're shifting, but not by how much. We're going to say price is indeterminate. That's just kind of the way that I do it. I just put a question mark in front of P. That means price indeterminate. Now, there is another way to figure out what's happening to P and Q besides drawing three graphs. Some of y'all might be thinking, yeah, I can just think about it, which is great. If you can think it through, fantastic. But let me just show you one other way to kind of do this, all right? I just use a table. It's a quick table, all right? I'm just going to put supply, demand, price equilibrium, quantity equilibrium. So we just draw this quick table just like this. And we know what's happening to supply. It is increasing. So I want to just ask myself, if supply increases and that's all that happens, just supply increases, no change in demand, what would happen to price equilibrium? Well, an increase in supply drives prices down. Quantity equilibrium would, of course, increase. Now, demand also changed. So now I'm going to ignore this top row right here. I'm just focusing on demand. How about if demand increased and that's all that happened? Well, demand increasing puts upward pressure on prices, but also leads to an increase in quantity equilibrium. Just a simple little table like that to make sure that you've got it right. And we did, guys. Take a look at this. Price, down, up. That means price. We're not sure what's going to happen to price, okay? Increased supply puts downward pressure on prices. Increased demand puts upward pressure on prices. We're not sure what's happening to prices. Quantity equilibrium, hey, we get the same result. We know quantity equilibrium is increasing, and that's what we've got right there. Anyhow, hope that made sense to you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next video.